Now let's do question 8, the bicyclists. So we've got two bicyclists, and they're 42 miles apart. 42 miles. And one's traveling at 15 miles an hour, the other's at 20 miles an hour. Will you agree with this? They are covering this distance at a combined rate of 35 miles an hour. In 1 hour, if one's gone 15 miles and the other one's gone 20, they've covered 35 miles in that hour. So their combined rate is 35 miles an hour. Now, and we also know spot the dog, rate, time, and distance. Spot the dog, the bicyclists are covering the country at 35, combined rate of 35 miles per hour. Spot is covering the country at a rate of 38 miles per hour. They've got to travel, these guys are going to travel 42 miles. We don't know how far Spot's gonna go, but we know that time equals distance over rate, so that's 42 divided by 35, and that reduces 2, by the way. 7 goes into 42 6 times, and 7 goes into 35 5 times. So now we know that this is the time it takes. And so, by the way, 6 divided by 5 equals 1.2. So the time that Spot is traveling is 1.2 hours. And if we multiply that, what we find is that Spot traveled, the product of these two is 45.6 miles. And that's how far Spot traveled. What was that, number 8? And finally, we have number 9. And I assure you, you know, I think this bicycle problem's on a test. And this next question is for sure on a test, and you can see this next question, number 9, on page 119. And what's going on here is you've got, as you read, 8 turns of a wire are wrapped around a pipe with a length of 60 inches and a circumference of 4 inches. So the circumference, if we were to cut this pipe down the middle and then open it up, then we'd have a flat surface. For example, the pipe looks like this. You open it up, you have a flat surface, and the 4 inches becomes, you have a rectangle, and the 4 inches becomes the width of the rectangle, 44 inches, and the length of it, I think, is 60 inches. So 60 inches from there to there. And now you're going to have 8 wraps of a wire. So let's divide this into eighths, and I'm just going to approximate. Might be off a little bit, just eyeballing it. We've got 8 turns. And now, if we were to open it up, the wire about that thing, that pipe, if we were to open up, forms the hypotenuse of a repeated hypotenuse of repeated right angles. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And each one of these triangles has a base of 4 inches and a height. If you divide 60 by 8, you get 7.5 inches. inches. And now the length of the hypotenuse by the Pythagorean theorem, I'll just call this little L. And so L equals the square root of 7.5 squared plus 4 squared. And when we compute that, we get 8.5 inches. And then if we multiply that by 8L equals 68 inches. So we would need a piece of wire, heat tape, 68 inches long, and we're done.